Good dawn to you. Let's walk. This is a little bit of Element Ale. That's elemental with an E on the end. Element Ale. Kind of an elixir for what soothes the soul. It's a simple mix of nature and the living water of the Spirit. I'm walking beside the Rum River. Imagine 150 years ago, the logs that jammed this river in the spring from the great forests of central Minnesota where white pine was harvested and the logs were sent down the road. The river was the infrastructure for the transport of logs. There was no other feasible way. It's also about 150 miles of winding river from Lake Mille Lacs to Anoka. Before that time, long before that time, from generation to generation to generation, what was called Mille Lacs, what we call Mille Lacs, the Dakota name was Mitiwakan. Great Spirit Lake is one translation for that. And even more so, Mitiwakan was claimed as a place of origin. And from that Great Spirit Lake ran the Wakan Wakpa Spirit River. Right here, the Spirit River. For this river, it was not only the source of transportation for the Dakota, it was also a means of communication from village to village. And in addition, it was a great spiritual river, spiritual infrastructure, a means for the Great Spirit. Water is a sign of transformation. And as we look here, we see some of the ice along the edge of the river that soon will melt and become part of the swift current. In Minnesota, we know ice as foundation. 1 or 2 feet of ice on a lake or a river can support an enormous amount of weight. We also know water as fluid. And of course, there's vapor, which in its hot form, steam, is very powerful. Think about locomotives moving from steam power. Just a bit of a story here. A Samaritan woman goes midday to a well, and she encounters Jesus, and through the story, one can feel her attitude change. She seemed rejected and dejected. And he talks of living water as a spring welling up to eternal life. He busts through all of the social distancing of the day. We know that term now, don't we? But of his day, he broke through, and I feel like the living water that he shares in what he says to the woman is just like he's saying, you are a beloved child of God. How do I know that? Well, one thing living water tells me is, I am she. One-on-one with Jesus, water speaks. This is deep infrastructure. It's personal. The psalmist writes, "O God, you are my God. Earnestly my soul thirsts for you." And Jesus says, "Whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst." And it's also written, since we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. It's Element Ale, living water, flowing infrastructure for and with and to God. We are not alone. Be well, be a well. You all take care.